HHDG.
Peace, Hip Hop Discussion Group. We are on another episode of HHDG Media, the podcast. And on this afternoon, we have two coming out of Brooklyn, one in Nejma Nefertiti and the other in Napoleon the Legend. Peace to y'all.
Peace. Salute.
Peace.
How y'all doing this afternoon?
Blessed. You know what I mean?
Cool.
Yeah, same, man. Breathing, creative, feeling good, healthy, so we good.
Cool. Now, with most of our guests, we like to let you give a nice little introduction of yourself. So tell the people a little bit about yourself before I go into it.
Go ahead, Paul. All right. You know what I mean? Look, I'm Nejma Nefertiti. I've been doing this hip hop thing for a minute. You know what I mean? But I'm finally really starting to create and put things out. Really been enjoying the people I'm working with, especially Poe, one of my favorite people to work with. I also design streetwear. I make natural perfumes. Just an all-around creative person. I like working with layers. Music has layers. All those things I mentioned has layers. Social justice advocate, teaching artist, really down for the youth, also for the elders, that intersectionality. That's what I'll rock with for now.
Yeah. I'm Napoleon the Legend. You guys hear?
Yeah, if you have it playing through your speakers.
Yeah. I don't know how else to do it. I might need to get some headphones. Hold on. Let me see something.
Okay.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, it's good now.
You think so? All right. Well, Napoleon the Legend, Ferragamo, the Black Pharaoh with ammo. I'm an MC. I do hip hop. I rap. I do a little bit of Afrobeat on the side. I'm originally from Comoros Islands in East Africa. I was born in Paris, France, but I grew up in DC, DMV area. And this led me to Brooklyn, led me to meet Nejma through doing the same thing, teaching artists, doing social things, helping the youth, going to schools, going to prisons, all that. And that's it.
There you go. And you actually went through exactly what I was going to ask, how the two of you intertwine, because if you listen to both of your music, there's a high content on social awareness, social justice, and also spreading the culture of hip hop. So you just went and explained it right there. So that's great. That's great. But also the two of you are known for being independent, and you flourish with that. You've shown in many great ways, not just with the music, but in the community, how important that is. You want to tell us a little bit about what you do in the community, as far as what you were just explaining?
That's where you want to go ahead.
You can continue, and I'll bounce off of
you.
you.
It's there's different organizations around Brooklyn that help the youth and do things like that. And I introduced to one of them, and Nejma happened to be part of that. And we just saw each other. There's a group. There's a lot of people. It's not just me and her. Mm-hmm. And it so happens like there were certain schools we would do hip hop workshops in. And I had mine, she had hers and whatever, but there was some that we intersected and taught at the same time. So we got familiar with each other, doing stuff, hip hop workshops for the actual youth. I started doing summer camps and things like that. And that was it went a few years by, and then it's I knew she was dope from the little glimpses we would get, but it's not like we were going into these hip hop classes and flexing. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't what it was about. It was just more so trying to get something out of the youth for them to express themselves. But I could tell, I was like, okay, she got an ill voice, this, that, and the third. You know what I mean? And then we had a friendship, organic friendship. And then it was just let's hop on a track. And then the first song we did was Magic. You know what I'm saying? And so it all started from there, from the youth, from workshops, around different schools and different places. You know what I'm saying? I was going to Rikers, I was going to Brooklyn, I was going to the Bronx. And I know Nejma does a lot of other stuff too. So I know if Nejma wants to add on.
Yeah, I mean, you know, just bouncing off what Poe said, like we would do like political development workshops too, to like get ready to go into Rikers and stuff like that. Again, we seen each other around. We did little ciphers, you know, nothing crazy. Like we were there for the youth, you know what I mean, and the workshops to kind of like just mentally prepare and know what we dealing with, and just become equipped, you know what I'm saying, for that, like to take our twist and put it on the style that we come with. And, you know, once I found out who he was, I looked into like other music that he had out and stuff like that. And I was like, yo, I'm a fan. I was like, this is dope. I loved what he was doing. I was like, this is dope. You know what I mean? So like, I became a fan before I was even his friend, you know what I'm saying? Before I got to know him better. And then we did become friends. And, you know, that first track, it was magic, man. Encrypted Wisdom. It's like a classic of ours, you know what I mean? And it's been like one of the most loved tracks. But yeah, you know, once we built that, you know, we just started sending things back and forth after that, and like it's like it's flow, you know what I mean? It's definitely fluid. It's like we create. It's seamless. It's fun. We challenge, you know, each other. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's beautiful. I love doing it. I have a lot of fun for real, and just, you know, bringing hip hop to the youth. You know what I mean? Teaching them the culture. You know, telling them how we got there, how they can get where they want to go, teaching them how to express themselves, or really guiding them, not teaching them, guiding them, you know what I mean, to come out of their shell and be who they are and figure that out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Paul. You was about to say something.
It's just like two things. You gave me two ideas. It's just about bringing out their potential too, because it's like when I had the opportunity to deal with the youth in that capacity, I felt blessed, because in my head I'm like, damn, I wish I had that when I was coming up.
Right.
And I never had that. You know, everything that came from hip hop, it was just from being a fan and learning from music that I was hearing, or from me and my whoever friends or crew I had. We're trying to teach each other certain things. But imagine I was doing that in somebody that was a true MC, like anybody. It doesn't even have to be somebody famous. It could have been somebody from like Ruckus Records or something, you know what I'm saying, who came to the class when I was young. I would have had so much out of that, you know what I'm saying? And I never got the opportunity. I never met no rappers until, I don't even know. I don't even remember, you know what I mean? I must have been past high school when I actually met rappers, you know what I'm saying? So I felt like it's a great opportunity to give the youth that, you know what I'm saying, for them to develop. And when we're talking about collaborating together, I invited her on this track because I was like, yo, we let's just do something, you know what I mean? And it was in person, which was dope too. So we got to feed off each other's energy. That was a one dope thing. So now it's like we already have the essence. So it's like we don't even have to be in the same room to do it, because we know what we do. We know how we get down.
Right.
But that first Encrypted Wisdom was, I think, important in the, like, solidifying something like, okay, when we get together on the joint, it's gonna be something special. You know, it was getting played by everybody. It was getting played on Sirius XM. It was getting played on radio stations, underground shows, and all that. So, yep.
Yeah. Now, with coming and speaking with the youth, has any of them who, like, further down the line, maybe a few years ago, you know, come up to you and said thank you, you know, for what you have done for them?
I can say that a lot of them write me on Instagram, and they you know, they support what I do, and try to, you know, sometimes they'll send me something, and so I still kind of mentor some of them from afar, you know what I'm saying? You know, so that's kind of what I got from it. I haven't really seen them in person except last summer, you know, when the George Floyd, you know, protests were out. You know, people were out in the streets and stuff. I was out there and I seen some of the youth that I worked with, and that was really dope. And it felt like, you know, I need to be out here with them, because this is exactly full circle, like what we were talking about, like you fight for justice, you know what I'm saying? And they were like, Nejma, you know what I'm saying? So it definitely is fulfilling, you know, like to get that energy returned from them and know that you inspire them and see how far that they've come and, you know, where their journey is and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like yeah, Instagram is a few of them that stay in touch with me, and they also it feels good too because it's not like I come in there, they know I rap, but something when they like what I do and they're like, oh my God, you did this or you did that, you on Sway or something like that. It's cool to see them like be impressed by that, you know. But I remember coming back with I had just rocked at the Brooklyn Hip Hop Festival, and it was we redid like Live from the Barbecue, where Ralph McDaniel introduced us on stage, and Joe Fader was on stage with us, and who else was there? Large Professor, and it was me, a whole bunch of other rappers. I think like Jukes Diamonds, AG the Coroner,
Yep.
Innocent. You was there?
Yeah.
Okay, so we did that, and I was psyched because I was backstage. Mobb Deep Rock, rest in peace, Prodigy. So the backstage was lit. I met a lot of people. You know, I felt good, and I was coming. I don't know why I ended up going to Manhattan. I think because it was in Bushwick, so I had to go to Manhattan to go back to Brooklyn on a train. And I stopped off at Canal Street and walked in the street. I don't know what I was doing. Maybe I was getting food. And one of the kids from the summer youth camps crossing the street was like, yo, I just seen you at the Brooklyn Hip Hop Festival, yo. Like, I was happy to see you. I didn't expect to see you there. And you know what's funny? And he's doing this thing. I think his name is MC Gels. And he put out albums on Chop Heron Records where me and Nejma put out records on. So it's like, that's crazy. Like, I didn't even realize that he was that good. Like you know, I never, you know, he was just part of the room. But if see him like really blossom was like, wow, you know what I mean? It's important what we're doing.
Yeah, it's exciting, and they get excited about it too. It's really dope.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry. Now, Nejma, you tell us a little bit about your company, Elegant Streetwear.
Oh yeah. So this is a new thing really for me.
Okay.
But you know, like my whole thing was like artists be having merch and stuff, right? But I kind of wanted to go a little bit beyond because I always been into independent brands. I be rocking independent brands and all that. Even this hat, Salam Apparel, these are like independent Brooklyn people. I wear their stuff, these earrings, you know what I mean? People that make things, you know what I'm saying? And I like to make things. So I did this 5-part course at Parsons, you know, and that's not the end all be all, but it did introduce me, you know, to some of the people like kind of in the industry, like April Walker, who I really admire because she was like, you know, listen, like, you know, she was making clothes for men and like killing it, and they didn't even know she was a woman. Like, it's crazy, you know what I mean? And so just the stories, you know, so it just inspired me. Like, I'm like, yeah, I want to create, you know, some streetwear. Like, I really like, I like rocking it. I like having it for people. And I wanted to do like merch, maybe with my album cover and my logo and all that, but I wanted to take it further and have fun designing things, you know. So I kind of started with this line, La Jefa, you know, the boss woman, which I was kind of inspired by this series I watched, Queen of the South, yeah. And you know, she was the Jefa, you know what I mean? And I watched the Spanish version of it too, which was mad episodes. And you know, I was like, all right, so it's just like I started to do that. Then I had, you know, the site created, Maroon Couture. I called it Maroon Couture because it's kind of about being independent, you know, on all levels, not just the music, but that too. And kind of like in honor of the Maroons who fled slavery, fled to the mountains, you know what I mean, to create their own. I kind of like use that as an inspiration in a lot of the things I do. Even with the perfumery, I created myself. You know, I learned from independent people as well. So it's like, yeah, it's kind of a new thing, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. And, you know, a lot of my people bought some of my gear, and it's so cool seeing them rocking it, and it looks dope on them too. And they're like, yo, La Jefa with the crowns, and, you know, so I'm having fun with that. And it's something that I think will evolve over time. You know what I'm saying?
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And does your experience with being educated in Full Sail play into that?
Yeah, I mean, not really. Full Sail was more on the musical thing. Okay, I see you did your homework though, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, I went there to kind of like learn production and musical stuff. Like, actually, I do sound design too,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? And that's a whole other thing. Like I do music for the background of like short films, documentaries. That's something that I'm evolving to. It's another kind of thing with layers where you know, layer sounds and you know, create soundscapes for things. I've been on like Vice News Tonight, like my sound cues and stuff.
Nice.
And that's also something I'm trying to evolve, you know, just like even in my older age later to do later on, like, you know what I'm saying? And I like the background sometimes in that way, you know. So Full Sail was something you know, I got a scholarship. I applied for a bunch of scholarships. I got it. I was like in my early 20s, you know, and I just wanted to learn on my own and build up my studio. And that really helped. And, you know, people would be like, oh, why didn't you just let me teach you or whatever? But people are not going to put that time into you. You know, I just had to kind of make my own moves. And it did. It started my home studio that I have now, I've been building up. You know, it kind of started everything for me, recording on my own, you know, just learning that aspect of things, you know, not having to go to a studio, not having to rely on people, just having my own and having my own knowledge and just building on that.
Nice. That's very powerful. And the reason I was bringing it up is because of the advertising with the streetwear.
Right. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah,
Yep.
for sure.
Now, the two of you have very powerful names. Tell us where those came from. And, you know, being that I'm saying that they're powerful names, you know, was that mainstay of picking those names?
It's your goal. It's your goal, Napoleon.
Mine was just a nickname, you know. When I was growing up, I was playing basketball and I was talking a lot of trash. I'm like, I'm an enigmatic character, you know what I mean? Like, if you catch me in my right zone, I'm actually very aggressive and energetic, you know. But other times I'm just calm and cool and composed, you know what I'm saying? But you know, when you see the monster, I talk a lot and I get loud. So like they used to call me Napoleon. I was on the court. I was very aggressive. I was a point guard. And when it came to rap, I'm like, yo, it's a gigantic persona. I'm like, y'all want to keep that, and I want to make it even more gigantic and add the legend to it, you know. And so it was more about conquering territory. We're like Ronins in Japan, like back in the days, like you got to duel and kill a lot of people, and then your name gonna get known. So we duel and we kill like a lot of these rappers, and then in due time, the name starts to get known. So that's how I got my name, and I kept it.
I love that though, how you manifested that, you know what I mean, in your legacy. That's so dope because you gotta live up to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so. Exactly. It's pressure. It's like, yo, look, I can't do nothing half-assed, and I'm gonna go for my full vision, regardless who's with me and who's not with me. You know what I'm saying? Which is the problem with a lot of artists because, you know, you're waiting for the right time. You're waiting for the right person to come up, to the right opportunity and all that. And that never the right time is when you decide to do something. And it's for me, I feel vindicated every time I put something out that's dope because it's like, yo, look, like she was saying earlier, where she got her own stuff so she could do her own recordings and everything. And I think that's the reason why me and her started working. And I think that's the reason also she's blossoming, as you can see. Everybody talking about Nejma is because, yo, she took the power to her own hands. She wasn't like that rapper that's like, yo, put me on or try to make somebody for something. You know, she just went and got hers. And that's the philosophy, you know?
Yeah, definitely. That is definitely a philosophy. Because you know, we can't wait around. It's like you will never put anything out. That's the issue with a lot of independent artists. You know, we're independent. Like we could do what we want, you know, and that's the beauty and freedom of it. There's a lot of sacrifice in it, but it's really worth it at the end of the day. So like I also feel, you know, accountable, you know what I'm saying, and responsible kind of like to represent this hip hop culture because I grew up in it. I belong in it. So, yeah, my name, Nejma Nefertiti, is my real name. It's my first and middle name. Okay. I didn't use it all the time because, again, it's like when I did, I would have had to like live up to that, right? It's a powerful name. Nejma is star in Arabic, and Nefertiti, I mean, we all know represents, you know, the ancient goddess of Egypt. So it's like I never even thought to really use my real name because it's like we don't do that on stage, and you know, usually, but you know, I went by La Única for a long time. I really love that name too, La Única, the only one. You know, a brother gave me that that name, and I loved it for a long time. But you know, then I even went by Nejma Shea, you know what I'm saying, for a while. But like something was like, something told me like Nejma Nefertiti, that has a ring to it, and I was like ready for it, you know what I'm saying. So in the last few years, it was good timing too, because I didn't have a lot out. I was still kind of getting known by people and stuff, and I was like, I'm gonna flip this right now, you know. And I was like, Nejma Nefertiti. So it's actually my first and middle name that I'm using now, you know, as my stage name too.
Okay, cool. Now, one of your recent projects, The Valley of the Queens, your name and the image on there is perfect.
Yeah, I love that image. Yeah.
Now, I apologize. I did receive your vinyl. I don't have it with me right now to show everyone, but it's out on vinyl and Chop Herring Records. Tell us about the work that you did on that album and the producer. What is his name? Mohammed
Malek.
Malik. Yes.
Yeah.
Tell
Actually,
us about that.
So it started with this group out of hip hop on Facebook. You know what I mean? Napoleon was like, yo, I think you should check that group out, you know what I mean, and get on there. And I was like, all right. And you know, I thought about it. I was like, yeah, this is dope. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we second guess things for whatever reasons in our head, you know what I mean? But I was like, all right, I'm gonna join it. And I started sharing stuff on there. And I had this interview with an artist named Ghetto Queen from Egypt. And through that, I became acquainted with Mohammed Malik, who then, you know, decided to send me a beat, which was the first beat he sent me was The Valley of the Queens, the single that's on the project. And I was like, this is dope, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, yeah, I got something for this. And then he sent me 3 more. And he's like, this is, you know, I just heard it as a solid project, you know? So I got on it. Also through that group, I met Mr. Buddha, who does a lot of my engineering now. I really like working with him because, you know, I'm not really where I want to be in my mixing and mastering yet. So while I'm kind of working on that, I love working with other people. Plus, I don't always want to do everything, you know what I'm saying? But eventually I will. But Mr. Buddha, I met him through there. He mixed and mastered it. So I met them through there. And then, you know what I'm saying, I knew of Chop Herring through Napoleon, seeing, you know, he released, you know, vinyl through them and stuff like that. And for some reason I was like, I thought they would like it. You know what I mean? I just heard the project and it was like really like kind of solid as a hip hop project. And I was like, you know what I mean? And Paul was like, yo, just send it to him. No middleman. Like, just, you know, do it on your own. Cause I was asking him like, what you thinking? You know what I'm saying? And like, you know, it's cool. We could be there for each other like that too, to talk about things. Cause you learn through each other, you know what I mean? And, you know, I remember I hit up Bob and I was like, you know, can I send you something? And he sounded really busy. I almost didn't send it. I was just talking about this in Sunez, but you know what I mean? And then I said, you know what, just do it. And he wrote me back and he was like, yo, this is what we can do. I was like, wow, you know, so that's my first vinyl. And it's really cool because for me, it's a milestone, you know, in my journey, you know, as a woman in hip hop, because they've had features, but in 20 years, they haven't had a woman as the main act. So that was a huge, huge honor to me. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, a big milestone. So that's how that really all came about. Just connecting with people online, especially during, you know, when we were the epicenter of the pandemic and really couldn't go out. It's like things really started to blaze online and, you know, just connecting with people and stuff.
Wow. That's great. Now,
well deserved, must I say too, because it's like, you know, they didn't get no half-ass you know, rapper like you
right.
You God tier level. So I'm happy that you're the first to be able to claim that.
Yep.
Word. And you know, Napoleon was on it. You know what I mean? I always try to include him on my projects. I hear him on stuff. I'm like, boom, and it's a go. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was nice too to connect that and have him on it. Because it's kind of, again, it comes back full circle, like, you know, so.
Yeah, I mean, you was on my Chop Herring joint. The last one I put out was Takara. You was on that joint with me and Sick Nature. So, you know, it's cool. It's you know, the circle ties itself. Yeah.
You know, and people can they can go on that journey themselves too and be like, oh, okay, they were there. Oh, snap. And now this. And it's like, you know, what's next? You know what I mean? But yeah, the cover that you mentioned, That was designed by my boy Maure. He's from Venezuela.
Venezuela.
And he designs a lot of my covers too. And the original picture my peoples took for me when I was doing something else, that actually was supposed to be for something else. And I was like, let me utilize this, because that didn't work out. Because sometimes, again, it's like, if I can't be free, you know what I mean, and be authentic to who I am, and you want me to push something else, I can't do it. So I was like, well, I'm gonna utilize this. And then I sent it to him, he designed it, and I was like, yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, I love that cover. It's great. And I even like it in the black and white version as well.
Yeah, me too.
It resonates differently, but it's still they look great.
Yeah, the black and white is a bit nostalgic. It looks classic, like old days or something. Like we in the 40s. You know what I mean? In the 40s in Egypt, like it's kind of dope. Yeah.
Now you were just talking about everything being full circle, how you are guest featured on each other's albums. Tell the people how that energy is, that the two of you, every time you're on something, it's great manifestation of your skills. Just tell us like how a session is with the two of you like that.
I mean, Nejma, you'll say what your thoughts are on it. For me, it feels like it's almost it's very intuitive and very easy. Like it's very smooth, because it's like we're just creative. Like I it's a part of like one of us, whoever's project it is, maybe going like saying like this is the theme, and sometimes there's no theme. Sometimes just send a beat and be like, yo, whatever you feel on that, do that, and then I'll just rock off what you're doing. But it's like, I feel like we're at a level like where it's like we're so expressive that we don't really, it's the unspoken language between me and her. Like me and Nejma really talk about like song concepts or technicalities of songs or whatever. We just hear something and we're like, yo, we just gotta smash this, or if anything, let's go back and forth on this, or let's do this, let's do that, or let's talk about this. But I think there's pretty much, for myself, there's pretty much a trust between me and her that I already know what she's gonna do. I already think she's gonna do her job. If she send me something, she knows I'm gonna do what I do. So it's like, and it's not like that with a lot of artists. Like some artists need a little bit more direction, or they need a little bit more support. And I think we got so much respect on each other. And like I said, like to me, like she's God tier level. So you don't gotta say much. You just be like, yo, this beat right here, you figure it out. Like I don't want, I create so much music. I don't want the headache. You know what I'm saying? Like I want this shit. I just want to do something dope. And her, she gives me no headache. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it lightens the load for me. It's just like, okay, it's like the quarterback giving you the perfect pass and vice versa. That's how I feel like when we work together.
Yeah, one thing you said that really stood out to me was intuitive. That's what I think too, and just the respect level. You know what I mean? Yeah, like I could do the same. Like I could just send Napoleon a blank beat and be like, look, you could vibe off the title or whatever you want. You could go off something else, whatever you want to do. Same thing like he was saying, I don't got to worry about it, And, yeah, other people, they do need more direction sometimes. And then, the headache thing is real, man. Like I'm really cautious of who I work with now, because it's like it could really turn out to be a whole thing. And it's like, oh man, I ain't signed up for this. I just wanted to do a track, man. I just, you know what I mean? And even sometimes when people want me on something, I'm like, yo, what is all this? Like, and right. Come on, man. And then I'm like, look, I want to, put things out, and I want to do quality work, you know what I mean? And yeah, it's gotta flow, and that intuition, like, sometimes Napoleon will send me something with him already on it. And of course I'll go off that vibe, you know what I'm saying? Or yeah, we'll go back and forth like he said, but it's always a beautiful experience. I love it. I have so much fun, especially when we do the back and forth. I'm like, all right, now you go. He's like, here you go. And you know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful thing. Like it is really magical. It really is.
Because damn, this shit started again.
You good, I think.
Yo, keep talking.
There you go. It's back
So
again.
I'm saying it's like, it's fun because, like I said, there's some experiences sometimes with artists where you feel like it can mesh, but then when you do work together, it's like you almost regret it. You ask that person to do it because you're like, oh man, you slowing me down. And I'm somebody that's I'm very time conscious. Like my whole thing is time. Like there's only a certain amount of time we're on this earth. I want to do this, that, and a third, and you're gonna waste my time. It's telling me you're gonna do this, but you can't deliver. It's like, you know, oh, when did you need the verse? Like, I need it now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't think I need it 2025? Like, it's not gonna mean nothing. Like, your verse is only valuable to me if it's contemporaneous. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. And it's a respect thing too. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and it's not like, it's not about just being fast. It's not about that. It's just about proper communication, proper respect, and knowing that person's going to deliver. And, you know, I'm not Quincy Jonesing somebody, you know, into producing something. If I'm asking another rapper who I think got it together to do something for me, or an artist, they have to be able to deliver. And the thing about Nejma, like, she delivers every single time. Like, she's a sure shot. So it's like, yo, it just made sense for us to just keep making music.
Yeah, and it definitely evolved over time, man, for real. But yeah, that's how it is. That's how it is. And you know, I don't never gotta wait when it comes to Napoleon. It's the next day or a couple days, or he'll be like, and like he said, it's the communication. You know, if he's like, maybe I'm out of town, I'll get to it though when I get back. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, not now, but right now, type shit. Like,
it's a respect thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a respect thing.
It is.
It's important because me and her, one thing, we got that human thing where we're friends. We're genuine friends. We see eye to eye on a lot of things, social things, worldly views, and everything. And there's also respect. And I think it's important. People don't think about that. You know, I go online a lot on Twitter, and God bless the fans and everybody that likes it. It's like, they'll tag me and another artist, like, yo, Napoleon, I want to see you on track with this and that. And I'm like, I wish that could work out, but I haven't seen it work out yet because me and that person might not know each other. We might not be on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
You know, who knows? We might meet and not appreciate each other. And it's going to be hard for me to work because I do business moves calculated, but music, I do it with emotion. And if my emotions are not like, if I'm bothered by somebody, it's gonna bring out, not gonna be fun. And me and Nejma, it's fun, and that's why it makes it ill. And I know Nejma is gonna, you know, she's gonna go in on it. You know what I'm saying? Which is also another component where it's like, yo, man, I can't give him like half-ass bars because she's gonna come and she's gonna try to destroy the whole world on this beat.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I'm going to give my best, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Especially because, you know, I also admire Napoleon as an artist. Why would I give him some half? I want him to like it. I want him to be like, yo, dope, you know what I mean? And it's like, that's gratifying, you know what I'm saying? Someone you respect and they like what you did, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, it's just, it really is dope. Like I get a lot of people now hitting me up, like, and I don't even know them and stuff. One of the main things too is something that Napoleon said is, you know, we have a lot of the same values regarding a lot of things in the world and stuff. And that means something. It's like, if I don't know you and what you stand for, I can't just jump on something with you. I'm not going to do it. I need to know more. I need to feel it out. Like, you just sending me something like, I don't even know you. And you think it's just, you know, it's too much. Yeah. It's too much sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Now, both of you mentioned the word fun when it comes to working together. Before I asked Napoleon the Legend about the 3 albums that came out this year, The Hole in My Heart with one of the best out of France, Akhenaten. Yeah. Tell us about the track Low Tech.
Okay. I go, so Akhenaten, yo, he's one of my rap heroes, like legitimately. You know what I'm saying? If you had been with me growing up listening to hip hop, I was bumping I Am, his group, and Akhenaten stuff, right? Didn't even know he was producing half of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? But he hit me up to do this thing, and he started during COVID because their Live Nation tour got canceled, so he had time to put out an album. He invited me. Then a month later, he saw the way I work. He's like, yo, I want to produce for you. He hadn't produced somebody for like just a big amount of years, maybe a decade or so, something like that. Don't quote me on it. It's been a while. So I'm like, yeah, I'm on it. Sending me beats, started recording songs. And then he's like, but you know, I'm like, I got a lot of respect for this guy. And I'm like, so I'm just doing my own songs. But he's like, yo, man, if you got some artists that you like, you know what I'm saying, invite them on his joints. So, you know, Nejma was like one of the first ones to pop up. On the first one, we did that Cold Shore joint, but that was more like my song that I wanted her to like chime in on. But Low Tech, I was like, yo, you know what? We got to do it different for this. We got to make this special for this project. So it's like, I was like, I wanted you on this song and I wanted to go back and forth. So that was the concept.
Yeah, and it definitely was fun. The way we went back and forth on that, sending it back and forth. It's like we were, I know I was like waiting for the other part. And then I'm like listening to it. I'm like, oh man, like, you know, and that's hip hop, man. We got to remember that, you know, it comes from like the struggle and all of that, but it's supposed to be fun. I want to enjoy what I'm doing, like, and who I'm working with. So that's a big deal. Yeah, Low Tech is definitely, I love that track. And it was also an honor to be, you know what I'm saying, on that whole project with someone that, you know, that Napoleon admired for so long and did this project and, you know, in France. And it's like, that's dope, you know? It's like now we traveling on with, the, you know, because of the music. It's like, even if I'm not there in person, my voice is heard, you know, and that's really dope. And, you know, and especially like they respected it. Like, you know, again, man, that's like, you know, it's an honor.
Yeah, it's like a milestone for me, you know, like, yo, he's a legit platinum producer. Like this dude got songs with Beyonce and like, you know, people don't even know, like he's really like a big deal. And he was a big deal for me growing up into hip hop. So I just had to bring the fam on that project, you know, just to show face and to bug out, you know.
Yep. Y'all should definitely go do your homework on him.
Please.
And I'm sorry, all this time I've known about him, you know, I've been pronouncing his name wrong. So thank you for correcting me on that one.
Oh, no, don't worry about it. It's Egyptian. It's like Egyptian pharaoh, which was crazy because it's Akhenaton, Napoleon, Nefertiti. Like, those are all like huge historical figures.
Yeah, definitely. Now we're gonna keep it in the country of France, and you're gonna tell us about Lighthouse. Y'all see that? Tell us about that, because both of y'all are on this album.
Well, I'll start because back when I went on my first like tour in Europe, it was in 2017. After I put out Still This Mixtape 1 and 2, I went on this Still This Mixtape tour, and shout out to my boy Architect Neek. I had met him in France a year prior. He organized the tour for me. We wanted to do 5 shows, ended up doing like 14 shows. Then later that year we did 8 more. I just want to be exact on this thing. The second show on the tour, it was in a city called Mulhouse. And you know, all this was new to me. I've never been to these places. I didn't know what to expect. You know, I'm in a foreign country. I didn't even know the guy helping me get the tour. So I'm like, maybe he could come out. He's getting me out there to rob me or something. So like, there's a lot of uncertainty in my head, but I'm like, I gotta do this, man. If I gotta get out the crib, or else, you know, that's the only way I can make this work. And it was great. It was wonderful. And Mulhouse was a show at a bar, and DJ Scrib was the DJ. And he was so energetic. He actually DJ'd my set. Like we didn't even know each other. Usually Architect Neek was DJing. That night he DJ'd. And we started doing music together. You know, that city showed me a lot of love. And that was part of he's part of the people, his label and his friends put together the Lighthouse Project. And I think they discovered Nejma through me. And then they started building their own little thing. And so that's how he got Nejma to be on, because I know he was a big fan of Nejma when he heard her. And so I did my song, and I did my song with Venomous 2000, who also we went to Mulhouse together, I think, or we went to a French tour together that year that he knew, he was familiar with. And Nejma did her thing. I let her talk about her thing.
Yeah, I know it was so dope because because through Napoleon, I also, obviously, I got, in touch with DJ Scrib, and like, he was like bigging up my work and stuff. And he's like, yo, I want to get you on this, on this project, The Lighthouse. And I was like, wow. I was like, all right, what are you thinking? And he sent me this beat. He was like, what do you think about this? And I was like, yeah, this is classic. I was like, yeah, I'm definitely on this. It had like, the Bahamadia, sample on it. And like, I'm a big fan of hers anyway. You know what I'm saying? She always inspired me, like definitely in my life, just listening to her and everything. And I know he works with her too. So that was really cool to kind of bring that together. And so, yeah, I got on it. I sent him the work, did the video, you know what I'm saying? Napoleon was in it. V Bass shot it. That's his good friend. And, on a lot of his records, I did a song with him too. And I guess from there, once you do that kind of stuff, people respect your work, and you have this work ethic, that's strong. I like to continue working with people. So, Scrib told me, hey, if you ever got something you want me to scratch on, and this was a while ago, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep that in mind. And so I actually got my new project that's upcoming. And he's on it, he's scratching on it and stuff. So it's just, again, full circle. Like, when you work with dope people that are serious about their craft, you know what I mean? Like, I love that. So, and he's so respectful and everything. And again, I mean, you see The Lighthouse, the album, it came out on vinyl along with CD, the merch. I mean, that's solid. It was just so dope to be a part of that. And also along with the other dope artists on it, like that's also an honor. Smith and Wesson, and like, it's like, these are people I listen to, and it's like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? And so it's just, it lets me know, like, you know what, stay consistent, keep having fun, keep doing this, and keep connecting with the right people, working with people like this, who are respectful, who love who you are and what you do, and want to see you shine on what they're doing, and vice versa.
Yeah. And I want to like piggyback on what she says, because if you notice from what we're talking, and I'm hearing it a lot, it's not clout chasing. Like, we do moves that are smart. We're strategic people. We want to make the best moves that we need to make. But a big component is the human side, where it's like, yo, we connect with people that like me and the Kenneton. When he invited me, we were kind of familiar because I was talking to his boy a lot, Saeed. Shout out to him out in Marseille. So he kind of knew my character, and I think that made Kenneton probably comfortable contacting me. And then I met a Kenneton, and I'm like, yo, he respected me to death. And he's been in hip hop for 30 years, still killing it. Still, like, there's very rare artists that's been in the game for this long, touring, smashing like arena stages and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there was a human component to it that's like, yo, we respect each other. I never felt like he was speaking to me from above or anything like that. And that's how me and Nejma deal with each other. And that's how we try. The circle that we're creating, without even doing it consciously, sometimes subconsciously, it's like it's a whole bunch of solid folks that really love this and that do this for the right reasons. And I say this because I feel like in the hip hop game right now, I mean, the industry is all about the money. But even this underground is getting a lot of diva energy in it. And it's like, yo, man, like we need to keep the attitude of hip hop too. You know what I mean? We need to build with people that want to build, that want to do something. It can't be like a whole bunch of dudes that want to do money grabs, that come to your town, treat you like a fan and get out of there with your money and go this and that. No, we here to build. You got a community center with kids, we'll go talk to the kids, and then we'll rock the show at night. Things like that. That whole attitude is what I love about Nejma, because she really lives that. You can look at DJ Script. DJ Script took me to a community center where before my show, my big concert that night in Malouse, I did a show for kids where I was answering questions. We were talking about the history of hip hop. We were doing things like that. Like, these are people with these type of mentalities that we're working with, and we're creating dope art at the same time. Yeah. And I think we need more of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we're leading with that in the front of our minds, when we do what we do.
Word. That's what we lead with, for real. And because like Napoleon saying, I didn't know who was even going to be on that project, The Lighthouse. I was excited when I seen the people. I was like, oh wow. But like I didn't know. I just said yes because of Napoleon, because of Scrib, because of the respect, because of what we stand for, because of why we do this. That is what drives me. You know, that's what drives us. That's why I love working, you know, with Napoleon and just anybody who, you know what I mean, exudes that.
Yeah. And the two of you're explaining this, and it shows that one's character is highly important, and not only just from a person to person, you know, on a regular everyday basis, but with the music, and that chemistry in the music shows.
Yeah, I get that too. People writing me like, yo, y'all chemistry is crazy. And I agree. I love it. It's crazy. It's fun. It's wild. Like
organic.
Yeah, exactly. And you
Very
know, go ahead.
No, but, and like I said, I want to stress that because like, yo, it's like I see all this clout chasing going on, and it's like, yo, I'm better than you. You can't sit with us type. Yo, and I'll smash any of these dudes, man. I'm just saying that. I can't help myself.
Yeah,
the attitude has to be about building, bridges and all this. You know what I mean? But it's just this cloud chasing stuff is getting out of hand. We're letting these media companies from the top and these record labels who marketed this style of hip hop get into our heads in the underground where we're not tied to nothing. So why are we miming these people?
right.
You know, why are you miming some old Death Row, East Coast, West Coast BS or so whatever they're marketing up there? We don't need to. We could push values, different values. And you need to have the heart, the courage to do it and to be like, yo, these are not my values, man. Like I'm not in no offices with no lawyers who are teaching me these type of psychological games to play with people. We're here to build up our communities. We're here to be dope at the same time. And the true value of what we feel like hip hop is, with what we grew up to listening to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's dope.
Yeah.
And Nejma, you have a new track out with two producers out of the Bronx that I've been fans of quite some time. They call Straight Bangers, and that track they have is Molotov Cocktail. But before we go into that, yeah, there's also a well-known producer, Knots, he's actually completed an all-female project that's supposed to be coming out soon. But we had someone on here, Key Turner. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her. She's on the first single for a Black woman that's out. Now, I was telling her that there's an all-female project out, and I also put her onto it, and that's called Liberation.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
Tell us about that, because you're on 2 tracks on that project.
Yeah, that's how it started. Actually, you know, I can't really remember how it started. I think in the beginning, you know, whoever followed each other first, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But it started on Instagram. We followed each other. I was like, oh, you know, I like what I'm hearing, and I'm gonna follow these people, Straight Bangers, you know. And I noticed that a lot of people that I also like were doing tracks with them. I wasn't thinking of doing music with them or nothing really, but I was, you know, I wasn't like, oh, can I get on or something? But eventually they reached out to me and they were like, oh, we're doing this all woman project. And I would love to get you on, you know, a couple of these tracks. So one was a track that it was my, you know, I was on the whole thing. And then I did, which was hip hop. It was called hip hop. Yeah. And it's just about the culture, you know, that kind of classic, you know, old schoolish kind of sounding joint, you know, it even had the samples and stuff, you know, the out in the park, you know, samples and everything. And I was like, oh, all right. You know, he gave me a selection of beats. And I was like, all right, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna rock this. I picked that one. And then, you know, he wanted me to be on UNITY 2020, you know, the extension of from back in the day, Queen Latifah. So that was also, you know, had that sample on there. And, you know, that was a song that we all know and have heard. And as a woman, you know, I definitely like that song. My mother was rocking that, you know, in the house and stuff too. Like, and so, you know, that's with Shay Noir and Junie actually. And I didn't even know they were going to be on it. He didn't tell me that. He just said, you know, can you give me a verse for this? I didn't realize they were going to be on it. And I also respect them, you know what I mean, as artists, very dope very dope MCs and lots of dope work out there, and you know, got me introduced into more of their work and stuff. You know, I always love working with women if I can. Sometimes people are like, why don't you do it more? Again, it's the same thing, whether it's man or woman. It's about like the communication, the workflow. Are you going to actually get on it? You know what I mean? I've tried sometimes and I have failed in making it work. And it's just too much sometimes, like whether it's a man or a woman, it doesn't matter to me. Of course, I do want to work with more women. And, you know, I try to, but there's also a lot of things that are going wrong with that. Like we just don't, there's not enough solidarity. And there's also like a lot of reasons. That's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, the Liberation EP, I really loved it. That's what popped off our work together. I really respect their beats and their work ethic. You know, they got a lot of projects out and quality too, because just because you got a lot doesn't mean it's good, you know. And that's another thing about Napoleon. He has so much work out there, a beautiful catalog. I think really, there's no one that could touch the catalog, man. You know what I mean? But it's quality, like all of it. You could just let it rock. I'm not going to skip nothing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so like, you know, different styles too, the Afro beat. I love that. I love stepping out of the box too of hip hop. Like I like to do, I want to do some house music or something. Like, you know, I grew up on that too.
You have that one song.
Yeah, you know. Yes.
What's the name of that
song? Red, Black, and Dreams.
I love that song. Yo.
Yeah. She actually did most of the sound for that. She's an excellent musician. She played a lot of that on my keyboard. It was beautiful. But you know, so yeah, that really popped off our work together. And then you know, they sent me the joint from Molotov Cocktail. I was like, yo, what you think about this title? Boom. And, you know, that's now on the Chronicles of Roger Lynn, also on vinyl. And it's digital. I didn't even know it was going to be vinyl, to be honest. And I was like, oh, that's dope. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, again, like, a lot of these things are surprises to me. It's just about, you know, the who you are. Like, what are you about? Like, what you doing? And how does this feel? Or, you know, is there respect there? And, you know, I like to cultivate that. So I usually work with people again if it works out, you know?
That's great. Yeah. I definitely. Oh, we got a little feedback. Okay. No, I was saying that's great to see you working with them again after hearing you on Liberation.
Yeah. And that was cool because I love the all women projects too. You know what I mean? Like, I don't always like to separate. I don't always like that it's separated all the time because some people will see the separation and be like, yeah, I'll just skip that. And then they don't even get to hear nothing because they're like, they have these ideas. So it's nice to be in the mix with the brothers too. But also it is nice sometimes to have that where it's like, this is something special in itself. You know what I mean? So,
right.
Yeah. I mean, on the flip side, like 90% of other projects is just male, you know, with hip hop. So like, you know, it's like the men do it without even thinking about it. It's like the norm, like only dudes on your records. That's also part of the reason why I always like to have like females, just also from the colors and the tone differences, I think add a lot to a record. But it's just like, you know, and not everybody is that easy to work with also. That's why Nejma, it just became a flow. We got a flow together that's special and unique, and that it just works. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not like she's not the first. I had Narubi Salon on Still This Mixtape Part 2. You know, shout out to her. You know, but I don't know how active she is as far as that. But I've tried to work with a few others, and it just didn't pan out.
Yeah, I haven't heard too much from Narubi recently, but I'm always looking to you know, see what's out there.
Word up.
Yeah. Now, Napoleon is also an anime head, and he got 3 projects out there. I own them, thankfully, to meeting up with you in Brooklyn.
I got one right here.
Oh, word. Yeah.
Word. I heard that as well, yeah.
I want to have one for myself.
Oh, word.
One that's closer to my heart, but I'll let you ask the question.
Yeah, I appreciate that because he sent me the vinyl as well. But tell us about that track Freezer on here.
All right. Yeah, it's a Dragon Ball, and I'm a big fan. The person that made music for Dragon Ball, man, I can never pronounce his name. I think Shusunke or Susuke something. He died actually not that long ago. So rest in peace to him. because it sounds beautiful. I was just coming up with a lot of sections from watching, like, I want this, I want that, and trying to find them, and then I would flip them. And I wanted to check. I think I heard Nejma on that one, because I'm like, this one is very action packed, you know what I'm saying, and very energetic. And I'm like, I know Nejma, like, she seems to thrive on those type of vibes. I mean, she does anything, don't get me wrong, but I'm like, particularly, she's gonna do something to this shit, because it's a little bit violent. And and that's one. I don't think, I don't remember, but I don't think I told you anything. I just sent you that beat, right?
Yeah, you sent it to me. You weren't like, oh, this is my project. You were like, yo, I'm working on something. Here you go.
All right.
Like, I was like, okay. I was like, yeah, this is on right here. I'm like, this is dope.
So yeah, I guess, but I think you probably even wrote the verse first, and then I think off that verse I came up with the hook and wrote mine. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and like, once again, like clockwork, I was just like, okay, let me send this to Nejma, and she's gonna make that part of the project. I already know that's a slam dunk, and I could keep working on the other parts till I hear back from her. You know, so that was really the concept behind that whole song. I just heard her voice on it. And once again, it was a slam dunk. She just came through, man. I just had to just ride the beat out to the end.
And for those that don't know, Napoleon the Legend produced the entire album.
Yo, that one, I produced, mixed, mastered.
Yep.
I did the hard work. I pressed it myself, CDs, vinyl, and yeah, man. And it sold out on the same day I put it out, and I was just like, so I'm gonna think, once I get a little bit of time from the new stuff, I'm gonna think about repressing that one, because I think even today somebody asked me about, like, yo, you gonna repress this? I get asked like all the time about that one. So I know I'm gonna do a special reissue of that one at some point when I have some time.
Cool.
That's
Dope. Now I'm gonna go into something else that you were recently featured on, and that is Elo Kush and Supreme Cerebral's Clock Connoisseurs Part 2. You see that real quick. There you go.
Oh, you got it signed too. Shout out to that. Yo, what do you want to know? Just whatever, like how it came about.
Yeah, how did that come about? Yeah.
Well, I've been hearing about Supreme Cerebral here and there. You know what I'm saying? I've seen his name pop up. And I think who made me really stop and listen to him was shout out to Primetime from out in Bushwick, from Finston Bundy. And he's like, yo, y'all should do something together. You know what I mean? And I'm like, all right, you know, so I start listening to him. I'm like, yo, son can spit. You know what I mean? Like, he's one of those guys too that, like, he look like he got something to prove every time he gets on.
Every time.
He got that energy. You know what I mean? He's one of them dudes. And I like that. And one day, I think he was visiting from LA, and him and Banish Habitual and Primetime invited me so I could meet them. And so I met them. We was cool. And we talked about doing music together. So he sent me one joint and I did it. And I sent him one joint. He got on my Shakara joint, Mozambique Sultans, with Naps and Dreads. And this was after. Then after, he was like, yo, I'm doing this, what's it, Clock Connoisseurs joint. And you know, he just sent me the beat. He's like, do what you do. So, you know, I just did what I did. You know what I'm saying? I know I had to put pressure on them dudes because I already knew Elo Kush's pedigree. And I know Supreme Cerebral gonna try to come from my head. Yeah. So, you know, I just had to finesse and style on him. So, you know, if you haven't heard that song, Sashimi, check it out.
Definitely. Yep.
But I love them dudes, man. A lot of respect. Man, respect for both them dudes, man. They're
much respect for them. Yeah, definitely. And Nejma, we spoke about some of your other talents, but we didn't get into the natural perfume.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, like, my mother used to like buy all the oils on the street, you know what I mean, that they be having. People be calling them the Muslim oils and stuff, you know. And she wore a lot of those, you know, and then that made me want to use them and stuff. So I was using those for a really long time, you know what I'm saying? And just always, you know, copping little vials on the block or whatever. So, I like, I like to smell good. I like to be fresh, you know what I'm saying? And so I would have them on deck. At one point, in a certain point of my life, I ended up starting a company. It was like an LLC, so that I could kind of like prove that to be my work, you know what I'm saying? So that, I wouldn't have to really like work for other people. And two of my Muslim sisters, man, shout out to them. They bought me all this like, the oils, like the wholesale oils with the vials. And, I then created my name and started putting the stickers on it, but it still wasn't oils that I made. It was like, I was more of a merchant, you know what I mean? I was like getting oils that I liked, selling them, making my money. Incense, I would be at the clubs doing that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even when I was living out in LA, I would be in Long Beach, at the Rhythm Lounge, which doesn't exist anymore. And I would perform there, and then I would be having my oils, my incense, whatever project I was working on, my mixtape, but then, as time went on, I got really interested. I became really interested in the natural perfume scene, because it's like a niche, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a really specific thing. And so I realized that those oils, they're not really fully natural, you know what I'm saying? And so I stopped rocking with those for a minute, and I began to study from several people that are out there. And then I picked two of them, Mandy Aftel out of San Francisco, and then Abdesalam Attar, which is a brother who lives in Italy. And they teach people how to make natural perfume. They teach people about the history and culture of it. They also sell the raw materials for other perfumers that want to make their own blends. So once I kind of like became like knowledgeable enough where I felt confident, I dropped a couple G's, you know what I mean, on some raw material. I searched far and wide for like the kind of, bottles I would use, because no plastic and all that kind of stuff. Like it's a little harder than you would think. It took me a long time to really find that. And then sometimes they won't do that anymore, and you just find, it's independent. So like you might find something, and I might only get 10 of those, you know what I mean? Only 10 of those glass vials or something. But yeah, I became serious about it because it's such a beautiful thing, and it's so healing, and I needed that in my life. Doing that really brought me back to life. I had been through a lot, and it just, it's like the scent, you know what I mean? It's like the building of the scent, and like kind of, it did. That's what I gotta say. It brought me back to life, and then I made it to wear for myself at first. And then people would be like, yo, you smell good. What you wearing? And I would be like, oh, I made it. You know what I mean? And they would be like, oh, do you have any? And so that's how I began the word of mouth. And so I have a few clients. Recently, I just put my Etsy shop up. You know what I mean? And now I got mad blends in the mix, kind of like, marinating, you know what I'm saying? And because there's no real time limit for that. It's like when you think it's right, then I filter it. You know what I'm saying? I filter all the flowers or resins out of it, so it's going to stay as it is. Because if you leave it there, it's going to change scent, you know what I mean? And so I just, and it's interesting because the layers, it's like the bass note, the heart note, the top note. It's like music. It's like instruments. It's like, even like cooking, you layer your spices with your food. I just love stuff like that. So, so yeah, I kind of, this is something that's also evolving within my own time. You know what I'm saying? And I also make beard oils, for the brothers. I got to send you something, Napoleon, now that you rocking the beard and stuff. You know what I mean?
You know what I was thinking was one is Morris Island, where I'm from. It's called the Island of Perfume.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Most of the perfumeries, they need a thing called ylang ylang, which and a lot of it they get it from my country actually.
Wow, so, that's dope.
They call it Island of the Perfume, so it made me think about that. That's funny. Like those trees, I remember seeing those trees all around when I would go there. Like they would chop them, so it's like real short trees that are easy to like pick, and that's the base of most perfumes anywhere.
Wow.
That's interesting, man. That's really dope. Yeah.
Fun fact.
Word, for real.
You got your future connect.
I know, right? Nah, for real though, because it does though. Like I would love to do stuff like that. The perfumers I learned from, they do that. They go to small you know, farms and deal with the people directly and get, you know, I just, you know what I mean? It's so dope. It's so dope. And so like, yeah, I'm enjoying that. I got my own, like, I have this closet where the whole top of it is my little like perfume studio. It's very like apothecary like, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm an alchemist. You know what I mean? I like to take, you know, people ask me, how do you heal? What do you do with the pain in your life? You know, what do you do? I make stuff. I make music. I make perfume. I design stuff. That's my healing. That's my therapy. You know what I mean?
You know,
And nature.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna go get something that I want to ask you about. But while I do that, Napoleon, I want you to tell us about Afrobeat because I'm a big fan of that. And you know, I think in the US we don't hear it enough and get put on to the artists out there the way we should be. So, you know, just tell us a little bit about, you know, you coming up with Afrobeat and how you put that in some of your music and it's been very successful overseas.
All right, thank you. Well, Afrobeat, the actual name is the actual thing is like Fela Kuti and people like that. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of I say that to say that now when people say Afrobeat, they might think of people like Wizkid, like that Vito and all that. But it's a little bit of mix of dancehall and African music now. You know what I'm saying? But me, I just use the name because I know it's familiar to people. But to me, when I hear Afrobeat, honestly, I just feel it's African music. And it's African music for everybody. And I grew up listening to music from Congo, back then Zaire, Ivory Coast, a lot of these different islands, even my country, even some of the Caribbean islands. It's not really Afrobeat, but like Zouk and Compa from like Haiti and all these islands. And it was a music that I love so much personally that I would I would hear in the house or hear at African parties, or when I would go to my friend's house who's from African backgrounds, or when I go out when I was in Africa, or when I go out when I was in France in clubs, they would play it. And I'm like, they don't play, I don't hear this in America. And this is great music. This is like some of my favorite stuff. Nothing can make me move the way it makes me move. Nothing can make me feel the way it makes me feel. And I just wanted to really show people the root of who I am as a person, what I come from. And it's just like anime. It's like I put my passions into the music, and that's part of my passions. And in hip hop is rightfully so. You know, there's a lot of purists that, you know, they want you to do this thing and stay at this thing. And if you try to go outside the box, you're in trouble. You know what I mean? So I kind of designed it in a way where I'm like, yo, look, I love to rap. I love to kill a beat and do this and that. Let me give them a few projects, but eventually I want to do some of that music that I loved in my childhood that like raised me. That I feel like it's in my blood and my DNA, that I listen to all the time. I take a shower, I go for a walk. That's in my speakers, African music. So I just wanted to figure out a way where I could just put a project together and do that without just like hip hop. Nobody taught me how to do it. No, just being a fan, hearing it, trying to figure out how could I incorporate myself into this and give y'all this. And for one, do something that I think is dope. And two, maybe bring a few people and make them broaden their horizon and realize that like when you hear me rapping like this is also who I am. Because I know if you just listen to Napoleon the Legend album, let's say you listen to Coup d'etat, you know, for Giallo Point. And I don't know all the words from it, but you might not even know my African background. You're like, this is a straight American dude from New York or something, from the way it sounds. So music helps you travel. And I'm like, yeah, let me help the people that like my music travel too. So me, it's just like, you don't have a passport. You never probably left to have the opportunity to go somewhere else or leave your block or do this. But you know what? You can put on Afro Street or Afro Street 2 and travel just through music. Because that's really what music makes you do. Like, if I listen to like some Oriental Chinese, you know, feudal music from back in the day, I feel like I'm walking around Once Upon in China like Jet Li or something. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, I'm in this movie right now. I want to take people there. Like when they listen to me and Nejma, like when they listen to Coup d'etat, they might be traveling to Brooklyn. They might be in Russia somewhere listening to my music. Like, oh, this is how it feels to be in DC. This is how it feels to be in. This was like, yo, this is my passport. Welcome to Africa. Welcome to the Caribbean, even because it's island music too. At the same time, I put them all together, and I just let it do what it do, and took a chance. It took a lot of personal, like I had to overcome some fears doing it, because I didn't know I was capable. And you don't know what you hear in your head. You don't know how it's gonna come out sometimes. And it doesn't always come out like you hear it in your head. A lot of times, a lot of my stuff don't come out the way I hear it. Doesn't mean it's bad. It just came out different. So I was a little nervous. Like, is people going to accept that? Is people going to say, look, he's reaching too far. He's doing this and that. But I'm like, this is who I am. This is part of my identity. So why should I be afraid of who I am? And just because some purist nerd who's been listening, who hasn't been around hip hop, thinks hip hop is like this, and gonna tell me I'm not hip hop. You can't tell me I'm not hip hop. It's like I'm hip hop whatever I do. You know, I could rap to country music and be hip hop. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so I'm just glad I did it, because I feel like it's an important part of me that I want people to acknowledge when they see me. You know what I'm saying? Like, this has to be acknowledged. Regardless of what, you know what I mean? And it's for everybody. It's not, you don't have to be African, but just acknowledge the origin, you know?
Yeah.
Yo, I love that you decided to do that, and you spoke about, you know, because again, artists are in their head too much about, oh, you know, is this gonna be received? This isn't like that pure hip hop. Of course, we love doing that, but like I love so many of the musics that you mentioned, and you know, I'm like that too. I love listening to like a lot of North African music, and like you know, building on what you already spoke on. Like, just you know, I'm part Iranian too. You know, I have Yemeni blood. Like, I like listening to all that stuff, and I be trying to think of how to incorporate it. But the Afro Street projects, though, one thing though, that it's like it makes you want to dance. I love to dance. I love those projects for real, and I'm so glad you did it, because you have like, it's like that is a part of you, and it really does come off that way. And I can see it's a big part of your legacy too. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying.
And brought me a lot of joy to do that.
You could tell. You could tell.
And what it does for me too, like from a practical level, I think it makes me iller as even an MC, because then I come back to my hip hop projects and I like learn new things, because you guys are just, most rappers are used to rapping 4/4/4 or whatever. Once you start switching up the tempos, the syncopation and all that, you'll sound crazy rapping the same way. You can't rap to a Rough Rider beat the same way you rap to a dancehall Afro beat.
Right.
That sound crazy. So it just challenges you and makes you explore different things. So then when you come back, you might find pockets they didn't find yet that nobody did before. And I'm all about evolving. I'm trying to see where I could take this. I'm not just trying to copy. I'm trying to take it further. And that's me, like stepping out there, like, let me see if I could do this. And I want to still do it. You know what I mean? Because it's exciting. It's exciting. And it opens up a lot of doors. You know what I'm saying? I ended up doing Afrobeat festivals. I ended up doing a lot of things. And there's songs where people sending videos of their little kids dancing to it.
There you go.
It's the type of things I wouldn't ever get that joy of seeing that from some of the music that I usually make. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's some of it, everything ain't compatible with everything.
Yeah, I mean, you really get to touch the world when you expand like that. You know, that's what I'm saying. It's like, and when you were talking about like, you know, just the 4/4, even doing work with like bands and stuff has me like doing things differently in those 4/4 beats and also outside of them. So I think that's important. I mean, like, you know, I'm not content where I'm at ever. I always want to grow and evolve and see how far, you know what I'm saying, we could expand, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's so dope, and it's so inspiring, and
you're in your element, and just great that you showed the world, you know, something that you grew up enjoying in the form of music through yourself.
I appreciate that, man. And like I said, it's like, it's me figuring things out too. I'm just like Nejma. I like to figure out how could I still sound like me and do this. You know what I'm saying? It's not always that easy because you know it's funny. Sometimes I listen to like music conferences and things like that, see what people are talking about and people that know the industry and what you should do and stuff. And I hear people, very smart, intelligent people, or well-meaning people, are like, figure out what people like you to hear from you, and then keep doing that and give them that. And that's great advice, career advice. But somehow I always end up doing the opposite. I'm just like, I'm giving you this, but you know what? Like I have to please myself too. You know what I'm saying? It's a guilty, almost selfish pleasure to make art. Like how to say that's why I love what Nejma said, because it made me think of me. Like how do I deal with pain, disappointment, just feeling lost and not knowing where to go? I create, I make things, and I make things that's fun. It's like anime was that too, because anime, you know, like it's also looked at as something that's geeky and nerdy and things like that, and not always compatible with hip hop. But I just jumped right into the thing. It's like, yo, I like that when I was a kid, but I could make this dope, and I could talk about myself through this landscape of music. And I think you know, pushing the levels of creativity, I think it's important for me.
So
Yep.
we're going to talk about, since you mentioned Elo Kush, that's why I had to take a minute real quick. Let's talk about John Robinson and the Level Up.
I love that dude. I mean, you was gonna say something?
No, I was going to say, did you link up with John Robinson through Elo Kush?
Nah, man,
No?
nah.
Okay.
I linked up through Halo Kush through, which is weird, with Stu Supreme. You know what I'm saying?
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and actually, me and Elo actually started like interacting after the sashimi. I actually been around John Robinson a lot. You know, coming up, like we done shows in different spots in New York, maybe also in Philly or something. I don't know. It's like I seen John Robinson everywhere, and I love that guy. Very very cool dude.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I used to help out Crazy Al King do Spit in the Whip, and
Ah,
I was driving. He told me to drive, and the guest was John Robinson. So he did Spin the Whip in the backseat of my car.
Oh shoot,
So
that's
wow.
that's how I met him. I just remember that as I was talking, and he was ill. Like he went off the head the whole time, and it didn't sound like it was off the head. So you know he's ill.
Yeah.
And just like a dope ass MC, and we would just talk. And I knew there was mutual respect there from shows and stuff. We would see each other, we would build. And finally, what happened, we actually just met, not to do music. We just met, and I went to his apartment complex in Brooklyn. He invited me, and we had this 2-3 hour conversation about music, but mostly the music business. Like he knows what the hell he's doing. He taught me a
Yeah.
lot in that conversation. I was
Great.
blown away, because a lot of people talk to you about music. You should be doing this, doing that. And it's be like trash advice, trash advice. I spent hours listening to dudes where right when I left, I wanted to take my brain and put it in the microwave. You know what I'm saying? Because they fed me with so many cliches and you should do this, you shouldn't do that. But him, it was like eye-opening information where I was like, oh snap. I never even thought about that, but he's right. And he told me more about his history, which I didn't know. And I'm like, yo, this dude is like, he's next level. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not only an ill rapper, he's a genius. You know what I mean? And then we were like, yo, we need to make some music together. You know what I'm saying? After this time. So I invited him on a Giallo Point joint on the Street Universe. The song is called there you go. What's the name of the song? Roadmap.
Roadmaps.
And you know what's funny? I sent him the beat. I sent him 2 beats. I'm like, you pick the one you want. He picked the one I didn't think he was gonna pick. And he went in. I didn't tell him nothing. And so Roadmap's his concept. But then he sent me another joint, which is a jazzy joint. And he let me rock out. So I came up with Aficionado. So like my concept is on his joint, his concept is on mine. And that's how it went, man. And I love that brother. Like he's one of the dudes, like he fits that whole like vision, I think we share, all of us here, about hip hop and like collaboration and building and being dope too. Like, I don't want to hear like, yo, you're doing all this and that, but your rhymes are trash. Like, no, you need to do, if you're gonna do this, you gotta do this well. If you can't rap, like, do another discipline within hip hop. Like, get off the mic because you're taking space. But he fits that. He's dope. He's a positive brother. He stands for the community and just an overall like giving person, you know, like he gave me so much information in those few hours I talked to. He didn't have to, you know what I'm saying? Some people charge for that, you know?
Yeah, that's great.
That's true. That's true. People don't tell you stuff. Like, it's like they don't share. So when I get real information from someone, I'm like, wow, thank you. Like, because you always have to find out yourself a lot of the time. You know what I'm saying? Definitely. I know for anybody, but in my experience being a woman, especially, like, they don't want to tell me shit. Like, and it's like, damn, like, you could have just told me that, bro.
No, I'm telling you, it's not just because you're woman.
Right?
You don't get the information. Like, yo, I met so many, like, a lot of people sometimes and just coming up like, yo, you think this is a good move or not? And it's like they know, they just don't want to engage with you on that level or something like that. And that's why I try to be the opposite. You know, if I feel like somebody's a good person, somebody got something going on, like if they need info, I think we need to share more because we would save everybody some time and we would stop people from exploiting us left and right. Because the industry is based on exploitation. And if we weren't so isolated, maybe we wouldn't fall for all these traps, and some of these careers could have been saved or blossomed, but they just didn't know no better. And like, I think it's important that we share good information. Like, yo, you got you're starting a podcast, you want some advice on how to do this and that, some know-how. Oh, Nejma knows how to do perfume. Like, I'm trying to get some. I asked Nejma, she tells me like we need to be more free in our exchange of information.
Yeah, and it's cool to feel comfortable calling somebody to ask them. You can't do that with everybody. I text or call Napoleon with things. I'm like, hey, what you think? Or I'm like, yo, how did you do that? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you don't even know. And it's like the answer is simple. You know what I'm saying? But people really won't tell you.
And sometimes some people, like, I don't know if maybe it's pride or they're scared to ask, but some people could be asking simple things. And you see, like, people make wrong moves, and it's like, look, I could have told you not to do that because you know, this person screwed over this, that, and the third, or that's not a right way to release music because you're missing out on this or that. And we have to educate each other. And from a hip hop standpoint, it's not. I mean, yeah, I know information is valuable and it's worth money, but I think within our community, we should give that like willfully.
Yeah.
Right, for sure.
I mean, the same way you speak to the youth, I feel that with the industry, the same people that have that knowledge and experience should, you know, help those people out, not just throw them out there and, you know, let them take whatever type of negativity is going to come with it.
Yeah.
But you're definitely right about people not wanting to give information, whether it's pride or they think that you're gonna profit more than they are. And it really shouldn't be like that.
It's a mind state thing. It's like, yo, you don't think there's enough for everybody, first off, and second off, you shine like, yo, I'll tell you personally, I love Nejma is starting to get her recognition. Like I think she should, like, from her talent level and the person and the artist that she is. Like, I love that. You know, I'm not like,
it ain't doing nothing. It ain't doing nothing to his shine. He's shining.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Like, feel like that. Like, it's like, yo, I'm not gonna put such and such on a song because, yo, something can happen. My fan base might hear this and like that. It's like, I call that the 48 laws of power way of thinking, which is so prevalent and which is the basis of the philosophy that we live in America and spreading throughout the world. And I really think that we would be better off, all of us, if we did away with all that crap and start thinking more collectively. Like, yo, you know, this person is great. Ian his knowledge of hip hop is great. He should talk about it and do a podcast. Nejma, she's a great MC. She needs to be putting albums out. We need to support that. This person is a great DJ. We need to support that. And this person is going the wrong direction, or this person's having health problems. Let's go help them out. Let's tell that person, like, I don't think you should begin doing this or that. Like, come together. I'm just giving hypothetical examples. You know what I mean? I'm for people, it might seem like a utopic type world, but nah, like our nature is to have each other's back. That to me, that's why Afrobeat, I wanted to bring it to Afro Street, because y'all know about the New York streets, y'all know about the US streets. Let me show you how the values, the African values in the Afro Street. And Africa is a big place. It's not a monolith. It's not just, but we're about helping each other out. We're about doing this and that. These other values of I'm stepping over you and I gotta do this, that doesn't come from us. You know what I'm saying? That's some colonizer shit. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So we got to decolonize hip hop, and that was kind of my point with that energy that's coming into hip hop. I'm like, you guys are acting like colonizers and oppressors,
right?
And it's not the energy of hip hop. We're the oppressed. That's why we have a story to tell. The oppressor's story is boring. It's the same shit. You know what I'm saying? Our story is interesting.
Word.
And the two of you continue to do that, yeah.
The community sticking together, that's the goal.
Right. 100%.
Now I'm gonna show some other vinyl I have, and I want you to just tell me, the first thing that comes to mind when you see it.
How many you got over there? Like 20? Right?
I'm not gonna go through all of them.
You got the plastic too still, man. That's mint.
Yeah, shout out to Napoleon, because I met him a few times, up in Brooklyn.
I was very at first, because he's like, he wanted to meet. I'm like, yo, what's going on? I'm a slightly paranoid person sometimes.
There's nothing wrong with that.
So I was like, but nah, I'm glad me and you met, and I respected after I met you. I'm like, okay, I get where this guy's coming from. You know what I mean?
That's dope. We
appreciate this. You give us support, man. We need that.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Chicago. Nejma Nefertiti.
Yeah.
Check out the song Calculated Strike. She smashed that once again. But that's also Japanese samples.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it.
That's also chopped herring. Yo, this dude that produced that, I don't know how long you want us to go. I just want to add this. This dude who produced that is an Italian producer who got at me on Instagram because of Fist of the North Star. He's an animated.
Okay.
And so he's like, yo, I want to get it. So he bought like a few copies, and his name is Onion Kuare, Onion Heart. That's his name. I don't know what that's about. But then after he buys my stuff, he's like, yo, I'm into Japanese stuff. That's why I like, and he has what your record collection is, just Japanese soundtracks from from like, yo, man, you should follow my Instagram, Onion Kuare. And he sent me beats. He's like, y'all make beats too. But he wasn't even like, I want to make beats for you. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, this sounds crazy. And I'm like, yo, send me if you could send me 10 of them, I'm gonna make an album. And he sent me 10, and I made that album. Got Nejma on it, got Supreme on it, Naps and Dreads, Bizarro, whole bunch of people, and Chop Herring loved it, and I was happy.
Yeah, that's a great one, man. I got it right here too.
Oh, word.
Stuff of legend.
Stuff of legend. Yo,
I love that title, man.
Yo, I didn't come up with that. It's actually shout out to Road Data from Canada, who's produced that. This actually, I want to give a lot of credit to Chong Wizard, who pressed it up in Canada. So I love how these boutique labels, you know what I'm saying? Like I work with so many of them, to help me press these things up, because I feel like it's hip hop when you press it up, like that's when it's really real. Like anybody could put up something on the internet, but when you got it on wax, that whole process is so long, it costs a lot of money, etc. So Jordan Commander was like, yo, I got my man who got these jazzy beats, because I got on a song with Big Turks, produced by Road Data. Big Turks, with Jamal Gasol. and JUCO. And he asked me to do a project for him. So he had the concept stuff of legends with the legend of this, legend of that, and we got it popping. You know what I mean? It was fun.
One more. Brooklyn to Malouse.
All right. Shout out Malouse, DJ Scrib. Once again, you know, I had such a great time going to Malouse, and that whole community is so hip hop, and they're so supportive, and they get it. It's like you go do a show there, they have that energy. Sometimes you go to some cities and it's like, yo, like, wake up. You know what I'm saying? What's going on? Like, you know what I mean? And they're just watching because they don't know, or they have Malouse, you know, it's like you're going to anywhere that's hip hop. Like they know what's up when you do a show there.
Okay.
And he asked me about that concept. And I was down to work with him. So it was produced by him, produced by Flowtech, cuts from other guys from Malouse. And it started a beautiful story. And you know what's funny with that, how everything connects. That's what I'm saying. Get out the crib, learn, you know, meet people, touch people, good people. In 2018, Scrib came to Brooklyn. It's two things. Me and Scrib did a Gifted Unlimited mixtape to honor Guru, because he met Guru a few times in Premiere because he's a fan. He's been going to shows and he's like, yo, when he see me do a Tupac mixtape, he's like, let's do one for Gangsta. I'm like, yeah, let's do it for Guru. So he came to New York, one, to ask Premiere if we could do it. And he actually saw Premiere on the street. Don't ask me how. Got permission. And when he left, he's like, y'all supposed to go to this concert, but he wasn't here no more. And it was an I Am concert with a Kenaton. And he put me on the list. And at that concert is when I met a Kenaton in New York. So just to tell you how all these things, all these projects lead to wherever we're all going. It's like a long road with different turns, but each turn leads to the next turn to the next turn. So we're just trusting the journey and enjoying the journey.
Yes, trusting and enjoying it. That's a big thing.
Very big, yep. Now, one thing we didn't really delve in before we wrap this up is your influences, you know, family or just certain types of music that you came up on. So tell us about that.
Go ahead, Nesh.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, my mother was playing everything. I mean, like, she's, you know, she was loving all the, you know, old school hip hop, like even house music, like Frankie Knuckles, Mr. Fingers, you know what I mean, Strictly Business. That was like a big, like, kind of like Brooklyn thing. You know, even just listening to like musicians like Bessie Smith, you know what I mean, Billie Holiday, stuff like that. You know, even Celia Cruz, you know what I mean. Then she was bumping like the Fab Five and Blondie. So like I had a kind of like a start there. And you know, my mother struggled. She was in and out of, you know, incarceration a lot. So she also brought that culture back to me. And made, you know, Asada Shakur a legend in my home. So that was always, you know, even though she doesn't make music per se, she was always a big influence in my work. You know, and I also, you know, I was in foster care a lot, but after that, I lived with so many families that took me in that, you know, introduced me to their cultures. You know what I'm saying? I grew to really love, dance to salsa, merengue, bachata, you know, different Caribbean music, music from, you know, West India and you know, just different places. Yeah, different places in Africa and things like that. You know, and like, I would say like, as far as, I mentioned Roxanne Shante and Bahamadia all day. Roxanne Shante especially, her story is incredible to me. Just like her whole story and how she pretty much just started radio play. Like, you know what I mean? And you know, she definitely don't get enough credit for all that. But you know, definitely Rakim, love Rakim. He was a big influence on me. You know, it's crazy because when you think about it in real time, your mind goes blank sometimes. But of course, all the artists, you know, coming from the golden era, they all Capone, Noriega, Missy, Big Pun, Big J, you know, all them cats, Nas, you know, RZA was and is always a big influence on me. I mean, Wu-Tang, the whole thing for sure, but RZA specifically, because he really like, and as Bobby Digital and stuff, like I was like, yo, that's crazy. Like I really love that. And his whole like soundscape thing too. He's the one who kind of like inspired me to do sound design with Afro Samurai and like, you know, the different work he does. Just incredible artist and person. His collaboration with Yoko Ono, Life is a Struggle. That was crazy. It's like, what? They were playing chess and then she was doing like the birthing sounds and he was there. I was like, yo, I be telling people to watch it all the time. You know, Big L, MC Light, you know what I mean? And just, world music, you know, and really like keep people, like I said, Assata Shakur, Muhammad Ali. I used to pretend he was like my father, like, and the way he talked, you know what I mean? He gave a lot of my style, like, you know, I'm the prettiest, you can't, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you ain't touching it. And he was like an MC though. He would like rhyme his words when he was talking his shit. You know what I mean? And I love that. And, you know, just a lot of, also like a lot of martial arts, you know, films like The Woman Avenger in the Wu-Tang collection. What was it? The Kung Fu Girl or something like that. And then later on, of course, like House of Flying Daggers and different things. But I just love when women are kicking ass and just the whole story and just breaking those barriers and stuff. And, you know, like, that's why I be trying to work with samples like that sometimes too. I think, you know, I'm getting more into that. But yeah, I mean, just, you know, off the top, those are a few of my influences.
Nice.
Yeah, for me, like, same thing, like I said, at the crib, you know, my father used to play a lot of African music, a lot of, you know, he used to play, you know, stuff like Michael Jackson. He used to play a lot of reggae, Jimmy Cliff, Bob Marley. So that was all in my psyche. And, you know, it's funny because one thing about hip hop, it's because we sample, we have different flows, we switch things up. Sometimes we put a little melody in our stuff too. You know, depending on what it is. Hip hop could do any genre of music, if you think about it. That's why I could do Afro Street. I could jump out there. She could jump out there and do a house song. But other music can't do hip hop.
Right.
Like picture I don't know, man. Like Elvis Presley. No, that's too old. Like somebody that's Garth Brooks doing hip hop. Nobody gonna accept that. It's gonna be whack. But we could do country music, like, you know what I mean? We could do whatever. And that's what's cool about hip hop. And same thing, it's like all types of artists like Capleton, Sizzler, a lot of dance hall artists, Ninja Man from the performance aspect. I could go Junior Demus, like I'm Icky Mouse. Like I like all these dudes a lot.
Sister Nancy.
Right? All that, you know, even Lady Saw, like
yes.
There's so many. And I like a lot of R&B and soul music. I you know, I listen to a lot of like Luther Vandross. I might listen to some what's her name? Patrice Rushen. You know, like you know, the music I listen to is so eclectic, you know, African music, Koffi Olomide, Tikenja Fakoli, Alpha Blondie. And I think that it's part of my makeup, and it's also part of the things that I want to pay homage to. I feel like I want to pay homage to when I do my music, because I'm like, look, we're so spoiled, so blessed with all these people giving us all this great vibration, and the fact that we give vibration, like I just want to at least honor that, you know, and keep the tradition flowing to the next generation, and because I think like with society, you know, if it's not for like the culture being strong, this hip hop culture and good music culture and everything, like, yo, society, humanity be dead right now, because it's like the values are dying. It's like the world is in a crisis right now. It's always been in a crisis ever since we were born, to be honest with you. It's just ups and downs. You know what I mean? It's like if it wasn't for this good vibes we give each other in this music that brings us together and that unites us, where would we be? Nowhere, man. So it's like we're just adding on and I'm influenced by all the great artists. I'm influenced by Nejma. Nejma's latest verse is gonna influence me. When she puts out something, I'm influenced by, you know, all the great dudes, like the dudes that Griselda influenced me right now. Like I love what Conway's doing. I love what Rock Marciano, what Alchemist is doing. Like, yo, it's so many. You know what I'm saying? It's so many, old, new, all that. It's in the time space continuum. Like I soak all that in, and it defines who I am. So I think when I do something dope, it's thanks to all of y'all. You know what I'm saying? For real. It's thanks to all these artists that inspire me always.
Word. Yeah, straight up. That's real.
That's dope, man. You know, I appreciate the both of you taking the time, and you know, it was very special for me to have both of you on here at the same time. Just
that's different too. I've never done a dual, you know, a dual interview. That's pretty dope.
No, that was a dope idea, because you know what? I do a lot of interviews, and I'm glad to share that space with Nejma, because it's only right. Who else? Who else next, you know? And look, man, I'm just gonna say this, man, because me and Nejma, since you got the interview, you're gonna get the exclusive, because we probably never mentioned this in public, but me and Nejma have been working on an album together. You know what I'm saying?
He said it. He said it.
You know, I got to. Like, we're interviewed together. It's the first time.
I'm so glad you did.
You know what I mean? But we're working on an album together, and it's gonna come out this summer. I could tell you that for a fact. You know what I'm saying? Well, you know, if everything goes right, but yeah, it's gonna come out soon. Oh. And yo, if y'all like what we do together on our other tracks, believe me,
man,
we really went crazy, and we really went, like, we let loose on these joints. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. Oh. I'm so excited for that.
Man, I'm hyped for that.
Yes.
Yo, we're both so hyped, man. You know what I'm saying? We can't wait. Like, if we could drop it tomorrow, we would, trust me. But we got to do this the right way. You know what I mean?
Yep. You know, it's a process. It's a process. Yeah.
Dope.
We're independent. You know, we got these steps to certain things we got to do. It's like, it's a lot more challenging, the extra things that outside of art to give y'all what we give y'all. So it's like, I just want people to know that we work hard to get y'all this music and to present it to you the right way.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They don't know what goes on, you know what I mean, backstage, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Back in the studio, or like, you know, what all the things you got to go through to get things put out, in a way that's beautiful. And it's like, there it is, but it's so much went into it, and the patience. Right.
The patience, and also, like, you know, you if you hear on Dragon Ball G, I'll refer people to the Dragon Ball G album. The last skit, Nejma is also on it. The song called Goten. At the end, me and her talk, and it was a real conversation. And it's like, yo, man, there's a lot that goes behind us giving y'all this, and we accept what comes with it. You know what I'm saying? Some people, people say good things. Some people won't say good things. Whatever. You know, any blogger can talk about it. But at the end of the day, that's part of being an artist. Like, so it's like, you gotta respect somebody like Nejma to be like, yo, this is me. You know, I know how the codes of hip hop, but you know what? I'm also this person, and I might not fit this certain criteria, this and that. And I'm saying the same thing. I know the codes of hip hop, but I'm still gonna do this or that sometimes because I like to do that. And it's like, and I feel like, you know, I got respect for Nejma because of that. Because it when I question myself, I'm like, yo, look at how vulnerable she makes herself in the music. Like, yo, don't be scared. Just do your thing. You know what I'm saying? Everything gonna be all right.
I do the same, man. I'm like, you know, for real. I see the feeling is mutual. You know what I mean? For sure.
Now, before we go, you got to let the people know where they can reach you at, where they can support your music, whether it's digital or physical.
Go ahead, Nej. I'll let you.
Yeah, I mean, you know, NejmaNefertiti.com. That's my site. I'm also Nejma Nefertiti, the same thing across all the boards, you know, on social media, Instagram, Facebook. I got a little TikTok too, for fun to put my raps up there. Twitter,
But
same
you gotta
thing.
follow me on TikTok.
I got you.
TikTok. We're not following each other.
Oh man, see, yeah, okay.
Not to cut you off, but yo,
Yeah, no,
I didn't
I
know you
will.
were doing that. I'm about to follow you now. Go ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead.
do that. Yeah, I did. It's fun sometimes, and also I found how to kind of duet with people where you could collaborate. It's really cool. But yeah, I mean, pretty much that's it. I mean, I post everything that's going on. If you even go to my Instagram and you hit the link, it's gonna bring you to all the links. So yeah, just check it out because I'm always on there, putting everything out there. It's the same Nejma Nefertiti across the board.
Yeah, for me, I have a website. You can get most of my stuff from there. NapoleonDaLegend.com. The new music, some of my videos, everything. When shows start again, there's an event tab, because we plan on doing shows in the future when things really come back in the swing. Team NDL is the Instagram. Team NDL on TikTok too. I have a TikTok. My TikTok is trash. But yeah, if you don't follow me, why not? I might drop a few videos here and there. Twitter, Team NDL. Napoleon the Legend on Facebook, YouTube, all that. And also, I'm a bi-weekly guest on the Nomiki show. So if you want to hear me talk about things other than music and politics, current events, and it's like I'm on a panel and we talk about things that are happening during the day, and I just tell them what I think about it, my hot take. So that's something y'all could check out. I also do some of that. Rest in peace to my boy Michael Brooks, who kind of ushered me into that lane a little bit. And yeah, man, just holler at me.
Cool. Thank you so much. And on behalf of HHDG Media, our members, KV, Skelly Top, the mayor, myself, and T Smith, we're going to say peace.
Peace.